Welcome back to the show. I'm Tim Peter. As a marketer and digital strategist, there's one source of intel that I love to check out all the time, and that is big tech's earnings calls. Big tech tends to know more about what's going on with our customers than anyone. Where they're making and spending money tells us more about the state of digital and where it's headed than just about anything else we can look at. Usually when I do this, I look at the Frightful Five as a collection. I want to see Amazon, I want to see Google, I want to see Facebook, I want to see Apple, I want to see Microsoft. Sometimes I even share thoughts from folks like Shopify or Spotify or Expedia or Booking.com to get a bigger picture of the state of digital. This time, though, I'm going in the opposite direction. I'm only looking at the 800-pound gorilla that scares every other beast in the jungle, and that is Google. I'll get into some of the details of Google's earnings and what they mean in a few minutes. For now, though, it's enough to say that Google had a giant, massive, mammoth quarter. Almost $114 billion in revenue, an 18% increase year on year. That is, in a word, bananas. If it's not immediately obvious, Google's financials make all the chatter about them losing market share and mind share to OpenAI and ChatGPT look, well, downright silly. I don't mean to diss ChatGPT. They fired the first shot of the AI revolution. But as the saying goes, money talks and, well, other stuff walks. And Google is making serious money. Another thing to recognize is that Google's earnings mostly come from ads, which means that their 18% growth is pulled straight from your pockets. They're charging more tolls in more places to more businesses and reaping the rewards. Gatekeeper's gonna gate, don't you know? What else can we learn from Google's earnings? What do their earnings mean for your business in reality? And what can you do to succeed in a world still controlled by the baddest beast in the entire jungle? This is Digital Reset with Tim Peter. Let's dive in. So, yeah, Google got that bag last quarter, as the kids say. They generated $114 billion in revenue in Q4, up 17%. They also pulled in more than $400 billion in revenue for the year, their biggest ever, up 15%. By the way, quick aside, I'm not trying to manage your portfolio. I'm only looking at this through the lens of where are your customers interacting with AI? All right, not stock advice, please. Anyway, 15% growth is great when you're a $25 million company. That would represent an extra $3.75 million in sales. I mean, that is good work, right? Yeah. Okay, Google pulled in almost $53 billion in extra sales last year. Put this in context. OpenAI made over $20 billion in revenue in 2025, according to their CFO. That means that Google's growth in 2025 was 2.5 times OpenAI's total revenues. If you want your first big takeaway from this, it's that Google isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Google also made $82.3 billion in revenue from ads in Q4, up roughly $9.8 billion year on year. That's about a 13.6% increase. That $82.3 billion is fully 72% of Google's total revenues. Hell, search alone represents 55% of Google's total revenues. As CFO Ruth Porat said it best on their earnings call, search revenues really reflected broad-based growth across verticals. Search remained the largest contributor to revenue growth. Google's ad growth happened despite lots of folks claiming that the company was under serious threat from OpenAI, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, and others. Now, not to keep kicking OpenAI in the teeth, but YouTube and Google Network, that's the non-search ads portion of Google's advertising platform, and it contributes just 16.9% of the company's revenue, generated $7 billion more in the quarter than OpenAI did all of last year. Damn. Let's just not forget, though, where that revenue came from. It came from you. When you hear that Google had a great quarter or year, just remember that it's your ad dollars that paid for that. They're collecting a toll from you to reach your customers. Google is in very good shape long term here, built on your ad dollars. Now, I'm not saying that OpenAI is doomed, though I did hint at it towards the end of last year. What I am saying is that they got a long way to go if they're going to compete head-to-head with Google's money machine. And all of that is before we talk about Google being the AI underneath the hood for Siri on Apple devices, which I broke down here on the show last month. So that's two big takeaways. The third major takeaway is that Google is using AI to improve its ad products in a big, big way. Philip Schindler noted on Google's earnings call that, and this is a quote, "AI innovation across our ads ecosystem is core to every aspect of our product portfolio, from targeting, bidding, creative, measurement, and across campaign types." In short, Google is using AI, it's heavily integrating AI into its core product to make that product better and better and better. Oh, and charge you a toll every time they do that. Google's ads alone produced 4 times more revenue than OpenAI did. Google is building an AI-enabled company, an AI-native company, and they're reaping the rewards from it. In a blog post talking about how the company is reinventing ads for the new era of search, Google's VP and GM of Ads and Commerce, Vidya Srinivasan, wrote, "In 2026, this shift is turning search into a more powerful tool for discovery, where ads can inspire and answer all at once. We aren't just bringing ads to AI experiences in search," she writes. She said, "We are reinventing what an ad is." She goes on to say, take AI mode, for example. It offers new opportunities for businesses to fit naturally into the conversation. That's why we've spent the past year testing new ad formats that bridge inspiration and action. Google is clearly integrating ads directly into AI overviews and AI mode that makes those a holistic part of the conversation with customers. That aligns with my idea that search is moving from being a card catalog to being a concierge. Google clearly intends ads to be part of that experience. Again, gatekeeper's gonna gate, and you're the one paying the toll. Now, this might end up being more like a local business providing a spiff to the concierge for recommending their shop than paying to present a separate card in the catalog, the way ads have worked up until now. The net result to you, though, is the same. You're paying for that traffic. You're paying for that customer. We're already seeing brands get on board with this approach. Marriott, Etsy, and Wayfair are already selling directly in AI mode in Gemini. Google also claims that Shopify, Target, and Walmart are coming soon. And as you've probably heard, Google also introduced its Universal Commerce platform to, quote, standardize how businesses connect with AI agents across the entire shopping journey. That's powerful. It might get expensive for you, too. Now, Srinivasan's blog post and Google's earning call ignored at least one big wild card that we want to keep an eye on, that you want to keep an eye on. I haven't seen anything where Google tells us how much of its ads revenue came from AI overviews or AI mode. They also haven't told us how often searchers see AI overviews or explicitly select AI mode, where they click the link to go into AI mode. Google's earnings release claimed that its Gemini app has more than 750 million monthly active users. And though sources vary on this, it's likely that ChatGPT is somewhere in the rough ballpark of maybe 1 billion monthly active users. I'd call that a win in OpenAI's favor at the moment, but not a massive one, not one that Google can't overcome in time. I strongly suspect that AI overviews and AI mode are bigger than both of those, really, very possibly bigger than both of them combined. We know that Google gets in the ballpark of maybe 5 trillion searches every year. If we just straight line that, that means they're getting around 417 billion monthly searches. And given that most users search between 3 and 4 times per day, some quick back-of-the-envelope math suggests that Google Search has somewhere between 3.5 billion and 4.6 billion monthly active users. Though the numbers on this are a bit sketchy, AI overviews appear somewhere around 40 to 60% of the time on searches. Again, it seems most likely, given these numbers, that that's people's most common source of AI interactions. We just need Google to confirm that, and I'd surely like it if they would. Now, it's possible that the numbers are worse than they'd like, and that's why they haven't said anything yet. It's also possible that they're holding back on that until they're ready to drop a huge number on us, like the 5 trillion number they shared. Time will tell, I guess. You can bet I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. So the state of AI in digital, at least by Google's reckoning, is great. It is huge. I think the financial data shows that they are undoubtedly winning the long-term race. It definitely shows that they're not losing it. The last takeaway, then, is what you should do about it. And I've got a few quick points I'd like you to keep in mind. First, remember that we're moving from an era of card catalogs to an era of concierges. Search doesn't point people to an answer. It tells them what the answer is. That's the way search works in 2026. I'd recommend that you regularly prompt your favorite AI to tell you about your brand. Better yet, prompt all of them. Try something along the lines of, imagine that you're a strategic advisor for the industry your business is in with a 180 IQ. Forget what you know about my relationship with my brand. Tell me the truth about this brand. See what those AIs say about you. Ask them to cite their sources. Those answers will help guide you to where you have a strong presence and where you have work to do. Pay attention in particular to anything that these tools get wrong. Those are clear signs that the data about your brand in that area is either outdated or often non-existent. And that provides you with a roadmap of what you need to improve on if you're going to get recommended by the concierge. Finally, Google makes money because they know what customers want and need. They've built product after product because customers literally told them what they wanted when they searched. That's how the company became a verb. Customers don't just search, they Google, right? That's the idea behind your brand is the prompt in action. Obviously, your brand likely isn't going to become a verb. I get that. I don't want you to think like I'm living in some fantasy world where we're all going to get, timmed tomorrow. Right? But conducting a successful digital reset for your company is all about creating a brand experience that customers will ask for by name. And it's much easier than you think. Look at the amount of branded search traffic that you get today in Google Search Console or Bing Search Console. Clearly, some folks already know to ask for you by name. You've done the work already that makes that happen. Now, it's about building on that success for the next generation of customers. If you get that right, you might not end up with $114 billion in quarterly revenue. Sorry to say. But you'll end up with a sustainable long-term business no matter where your customers ask for you. And I think that's a takeaway we all can live with. So the big takeaway here isn't that Google is too big to beat. They're not too big to compete with. It's that the rules of the game have shifted some. We've moved from a world where you need to just show up in a card catalog to a world where you need to convince a concierge that you're the right choice for your customers. A successful digital reset isn't about fighting machines. It's about ensuring your brand signal is clear enough so that the machines find you when your customers need you. If this episode helped you cut through the noise a bit, please do me a favor. Send it to one colleague who is currently staring at their 2026 budget, wondering what to do next. You can find the show notes and the full archive of these shows at timpeter.com/podcasts. And if you're ready to move beyond big tech, my book, Digital Reset, provides the roadmap to reclaim your demand. You'll find the link in the show notes. Thanks so much for listening. I genuinely appreciate you. Until next time, please be well, be safe, and be excellent to each other. I'll see you soon.